I wanted to showcase how insanely powerful Necropolis can be. Pretty much everyone knows that Necropolis is the top dog, the most powerful faction, and specifically Kel'Ghul, but I wanted to show you how even more powerful it can be. The difficulty will be on unfair, so let's check it out. So we have Necropolis here with the hero Kel'Ghul. I don't think we have to introduce him to anyone, but just in case, Kel'Ghul is basically the Dread Knight buffing hero for Necropolis, and I wanted to show you how insanely powerful he can be, and Necropolis in specific can be. So let's start with his unique skill. There is actually, a unique skills for each hero, Might and Magic, which I didn't know about. But we have Harbinger of Doom. Enemy creatures always have their minimum possible luck and always land an unlucky strike when attacking. So this means that every single creature will deal unlucky strike against us. Because they could deal, a lucky strike, a normal strike, or an unlucky one, which is absolutely garbage damage. And the reason why this is such a good thing for Necropolis, even though they are incredibly powerful, is because these skills required to get Harbinger of Doom are one of the best ones in the game, and I wanted to show you what each and every skill does to his skill. So first we obviously have Expert Necromancy, which is friendly Necropolis creatures deal 10% and take 10% damage on native terrain. Now this one is a really good thing for Necropolis because we actually have a low Terra Mortis, which means that Necropolis heroes always battle on their native terrain. This is incredibly powerful, and we can even push this further with Return to the Soil. Friendly creatures battling on their native terrain gain +2 speed. So this is a really good synergy right immediately. The second thing why we want Expert Necromancy obviously is Eternal Service. Grants a new ability. It will basically restore HP and resurrect dead combatants. It will require focus though, 3 focus points, but this build right here will also be an extremely good focus generation build or Doomstack or whatever you call this. Now the second skill that he starts with is Expert Tactics, and Tactics is actually one of the best skills to have for a Might hero. We have One for All, which is basically if I would have offense I could gain increased attack. Sadly we don't have offense, but I will dissect and tell you everything about each and every one of the skill, what it does and why it's really good. But I went with that, and we obviously have All for One, so if I have defense I'm going to gain even more defense, basically double bonus. And obviously we have defense since we need defense for Harbinger of Doom. Now defense is a really good one, because if we would have a recruitment, our creatures would generate double focus. So this is one of the reasons why we generate so much focus. If we get attacked, instead of generating 1 focus, we are going to generate 1 more focus. So it's incredibly powerful. And Unstoppable Force, which is -15 attack to enemy creatures. I don't understand the point of Shields and Shells, which is enemy creatures deal -1 damage. Like, that's mathematically, barely does any damage reduction. Like, Unstoppable Force is the clear winner most of the times. So, Expert Defense. Next one is Lock, and Lock is one of my most favorite skills in the entire game. If we have Primal Magic, and we obviously have since we need both Lock and Primal Magic for Harbinger of Doom, the friendly creatures will have much higher chance to land Lucky Strike. And also, whenever a friendly creature lands Lucky Strike, every creature will gain 1 luck until the end of the next round. So, if you start Lucky Strike, and constantly generate more and more luck. However, I think there is a limit to luck. For example, I think it's 5 the limit, because I have a lucky ring here. If I would put this on, you can see that my luck doesn't go up. So there is a limit to luck, I think, and there is a limit for creatures' luck as well. You cannot constantly increase it to the maximum, so it won't be 100% chance. but I really do enjoy luck, because luck is, we're gonna quickly see why it's so goddamn powerful. We also have a primal magic. As I said, we need it for Harbinger of Doom. The first one, I'm not really, a big spellcaster, but I went with Primal Force. And the second one is really good. Chaos Reigns. The hero and friendly creatures deal 50% more damage with Lucky Strike. This bonus is doubled if the hero knows Battle Magic. And of course, we know Battle Magic. The next thing we need is Sorcery. As I said, once more, Sorcery is the next one. I don't really find Sorcery that good on a Might hero. Magic Arrow is really good. It's a free spell, basically. But I think Sorcery is just a meh skill for a Might hero. And we have Sticky Magic. If I would have Wisdom, it would be even better. But I don't. Next one is Scouting, which is the last thing we need for Harbinger of Doom to work and activate. And this is by far the worst. It's absolute garbage. Sight radius. This might be good for PvP, but I absolutely don't care about PvP. And the rest of the skills are just meh. Absolute meh. And the last thing is Battle Magic, obviously. Now, the reason why Battle Magic is so good is because friendly creatures' attack and defense increases by our spell power and knowledge. So if we check Aura of Wizardry, every time the hero uses a spell in battle, which we won't, that much, but I went with this one, my spell power will increase by 1 until the end of the battle. And the major thing that we want is Battle Mage's Authority. Friendly creatures' attack increases by 20% of the hero's spell power. So good morning, everyone. 103 spell power. And this bonus is of course doubled if I know Sorcery. And I know Sorcery. So this build is incredibly powerful. The entire Lock and Primal Magic and Battle Magic being in synergy. I just love this build so much. Now the next thing we need to talk about is the magic items, the items that you can collect during your adventures. I think one of the best set items is Anesthesia. This is not only good for necromancers or a necropolis playthrough, but everyone else. Let's just go over first the abilities on its own. All positive effects on friendly creatures last +2 rounds. I'm not really using any of these, blessings. It would be even more powerful without a doubt, but I'm not really using it. We also have negative effects on friendly creatures last -2 rounds. Once more, And friendly creatures have +3 HP, which is that's not that big. But the main reason why we want this is this set bonus. 2 set items. Friendly creatures heal 2.5% of their starting HP at the start of each round. This can revive fallen units. So this means, let's just say if the Dread Knights just took damage, and they are at 90% HP, they would basically heal themselves up and revive a unit or maybe even 2. So this is incredibly, it's like a passive regeneration which constantly works. By the way, your hero's regeneration, Eternal Service, is like you can maybe use 3 of them, something like that. There is a limit to that. There is no limit to this one. So this is why one of the most important thing is this. The other sets I went with is basically this Beelzebub Chosen, which is extra knowledge, attack, defense, spell power, and I gain additional speed. And most importantly, friendly creatures deal maximum damage. So, if you would deal 5 to 10 damage, you will always deal 10 damage. I really wanted to go with the Ethereal Knowledge, but sadly I'm missing... Actually, I'm missing 2, but I know how to get the dagger. It would be incredibly powerful. All lasting effects from friendly spells and creature abilities have unlimited duration. Ooh, that would be really juicy. But sadly, I did not get it. Now, the other thing I wanted to show basically is even more spell power. We have Wizard's Might, spell power. If I'm wearing 2 sets, more spell power. So obviously, wants as much spell power as we want. 9, 110. And the last thing is the Holy Sigil of Urd, which means that the defense, primal magic and recruitment skills will gain every single one of the abilities, as you can see. So if I take this off, it's not all active. So this is an incredibly good one. This is why I went with this one. The rest of them wasn't that big. And I also have a +2 morale rare item, so I have an additional chance for an additional turn. And what else do we have? We also have -2 enemy morale and luck. You will see probably that the enemy will constantly take minus morale, so that they cannot actually do any actions. So this is the basic build. Let's talk about the army composition. The army composition obviously going to be Dread Knights. I went with the Avatar of War upgrade because of the double strike. Each strike is generating us 1 focus. So if I am striking 2 times, that means I'm going to generate 2 focus. So I think this is every creature that has double strike, double shot is always a mandatory. That's mildly better in my personal opinion. Obviously we have our little dummies. I'm not sure what these are called, like bait, which is the skeleton archers. All of them, ranged unit especially, is really good to generate us focus. And also if one of them dies, that means +2 focus for me, and I don't really care about that. And the last one is going to be the Sanguine Lich. I went with this one because the other Lich upgrade will lose the healing ability, which is a no-no. And also because we have Unlife and Undeath, so each attack restores 20% damage dealt as HP to all friendly creatures. So it's a little good bonus. And also every ranged creature is by miles much stronger than a melee creature, so you want to grab always ranged. Now let's test them out in a battle. Sadly there is no Mirage Castle on the map. I was trying to looking for that. If you don't know what a Mirage is, basically this is what will allow you to upgrade this exceptionally unique building, and it's one of the most difficult battle because you will basically face your own self with a much stronger army. That would have been the most ideal, the perfect setup, but I checked the entire map and there is no Mirage Castle, sadly. So we have to take a regular basic noob hero, but I will show what I can. So the auto resolve will give us a kind of meh. I will obviously win, but let's just check out how incredibly strong this, build setup is. So we will set up like so, and immediately I will receive a giant damage. So let's check. So we know that our creatures will gain attack from our spell power. So I will show you also how much, and I can tell you how much attack a base Dread Knight has, which is 19. 19 is their base attack. So let's check their attack. 179. And also the HP, as I showed that set. So I think this bonus and this defense is incredibly powerful. So let's just send the Dread Knight in and see how much damage he can soak against, every other creature here. So 54 does exactly 0 damage. Obviously unlucky strike, and I sent him back to his maker. It's incredible. Like, this build is one of my most favorite one. It's such a satisfying OP setup. Low morale, so he cannot come. -1 from almost someone that's 500. Yeah, like, this is absolutely insane. -1, obviously unlucky strike, this goes without saying. And now I can start generating focus. I can already heal if I was going with the Lich. I also wanted to mention a really good spell, which is Cave In. Cave In is really good if let's just say I want to lock in someone from being able to reach me. Obviously anyone that's not a flying unit or a ranged unit. And the reason why this is also really good, so let's just lock in this dude. The reason why this is good is, let's just say that, you know, I'm not that far away from using one of my focus abilities, but if I kill the last standing mob or creature, you know, the battle is over. So what I can do is generate focus using these rocks, basically. So as you can see, one focus there, one focus there. So basically it's a free focus generation without me killing the last standing unit, which is a pretty good one, I would say, pretty good one. So let's see the Lich. This is why I like the Lich so much. I could resurrect him, but let's just go after the... Who should we go after? The caster. Or maybe let the caster cast something. We already know these guys barely did any damage to us, so let's just send them back to their maker. Goodbye. And the heal is... Yeah, so this one might not be able to resurrect creatures. Might not be able to resurrect creatures. I will let the vampire try to kill my Dread Knights. So we will focus on this dude, which is not that big of a deal, but... minus 54. And you can see I always deal the maximum amount of damage. Always. Minus 1 loss there. Not that much. And now they will have a defense... I don't know, they will receive some minus melee attack from me. And, I mean, who should we one-shot, really? Who should we one-shot? The vampire. The vampire barely does any damage to me. Let's visit the vampire. You can see the damage is absolutely insane. 23,000 damage. It's just so goddamn powerful. Yeah, this game is so much fun in my opinion. It's absolutely bonkers. And let's see, the damage is minus 10. Minus 10 from a tier 4 creature against a tier 1 creature. You know, that's insane defense, insane attack. That's absolutely bonkers. And as you can see, the luck is at 5 exactly, so I'm probably unable to increase the luck further. So I think that's the maximum amount of luck I can receive. So there is that. And let's just resurrect. Who do we resurrect in? Actually, I don't need to resurrect the Dread Knight, so let's just resurrect this. So this is why Necropolis is such a powerhouse. You don't even have to go back, you know, to your... I mean, did that work? I don't know. But this is why it's such a powerhouse. You don't need to go back to your own settlements. I'm just constantly battling left and right, and I am always upkeeping my losses. You know, maybe you lose actually some, but it's such an easy way to, you know, not lose any troops or whatevers. And who do we one-shot? Actually, no one. That's actually interesting, because we have attack and defense. That's not that big of a deal. That's not that big of a deal. So... yeah, as I said, doesn't really matter who do we attack or who do we not. Let's just go with favorable winds on you, and still not that major damage. But yeah, this is such a powerhouse, honestly. It's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. And I also have another build already in cooking. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. They go for magic immunity, that's not that good. So barely any damage, barely any damage. So I know that this dude has magic immunity, so obviously I will try to... Actually, Heroic Strike doesn't take it off, okay. That's weird, that's weird. And now I'm just start generating luck, and even though my creature landed a lucky strike, I should gain luck, but you know, as I said, I think 5 is the max amount of luck that you can gain. No more. So I think this is the perfect showcase, at least, you know, what I could grab on how insanely bonkers / powerful Necropolis, Kel'Ghul, and specifically this build that, you know, he has access to the Harbinger of Doom, the set items that he has, and, you know, everything, but everything aligns. And obviously, you know, once you collect enough spell power, then, you know, you can check the Dread Knights here have 19 attack, absolute crap. We have 4 attack. So as you could see, we are increasing our power potential insanely. I think there is nothing more to show or say here. I think this is an incredibly overpowered, powerful build. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you liked it and learned something new. Would you kindly subscribe and like to see more content like this? Thank you for your time and I'll see you next time. Bye!